programs and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot on the show on this Friday to end the week. Ty, I guess we start off with last night's games, and I like to kick off with good news. I know you like to do the bad news first, but man, when a team goes into overtime and wins an overtime thriller to get into the regional finals, by God, we should start the show with that.
Yeah, and I mean, first and foremost, just congratulations to Coach Tom Siegfried and the Louisville Leopards for being the boys team that makes it into a regional final now, as we got two represented, one in the Canton area, one in the Youngstown area, one in D2, one in D3. So hopefully we're talking about a couple of state Final Fours here.
90-86, Louisville beats Cleveland Glenville in overtime. Will Aljancic, 38 points on the night. Have yourself a day. One of the best offensive performances we've seen this season from anybody. And man, did he put on a show. Hayden Nigro had 22 to add on to that. And when you score 90 points, obviously, you're going to have plenty of other contributions as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, the thing with Aljancic, like we've said all season, is just his shooting ability. I mean, he really opens up the floor for a lot of other threats on the court too. Just because you have to focus in on him, you have to keep a guy on him, you have to watch him. And I mean, he has some great passing ability as he's able to drive, and he's just a multi-talented scorer. And the way he's able to get it in from anywhere is truly impressive.
I told you Glenville's defense would have no answers for him, and I told you he would have a big day, and boy, was I right. 38 points. Louisville's defense was having trouble with Glenville's transition game and their athleticism, but when you put up 90, it's hard to lose.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a heck of a performance, and Louisville now books their trip into the Elite Eight, and we'll have an interview with Coach Tom Siegfried around 1 o'clock is when he'll be joining us, around his usual time. So we're excited to talk to him now, as Louisville 1 win away from getting to Dayton.
Yeah, let's go over what we're going to have on the show today. We got both basketball coaches that are still alive, as Tom Siegfried will come on at 1 and Kerry Palermo will come on at 1:40. But in between all that, we continue our spring sports previews, as we have Paul Kemp, the head coach of the Ursuline baseball team, coming on at 12:15. We'll have Nate Schick, the head coach of Lakeview softball, coming on at 12:50. You got Dan Doherty as well, the Lowville baseball coach, coming on at 1:30. So those are sandwiched between two basketball interviews as well.
Yeah, and I think that's it's exciting times because we're at that weird part of the season too. We only got really a week left of regular basketball, of boys basketball. I mean, and then we're right into baseball, softball. March 22nd is opening day, I think, for some of these teams. So we're quite literally less than 2 weeks away from the start of baseball.
Like the basketball boys state championship literally leads right into the new spring season.
Yep. And I mean, it's crazy because I'm still in basketball mode right now mentally, just because I've been doing basketball games, haven't done any.
Do you think I am?
Softball, and it's going to be
basketball
weird.
mode.
It's going to be weird doing a basketball game Saturday and almost a week later going right into baseball, softball. and making that transition too. It's always a little bit of lag, I think, for announcers, or at least for me. I experience the same thing going from football to basketball season just because of the change of pace. Football, you're kind of talking quick in between, and then there's long pauses where basketball's quick all the time. Now baseball, softball is going from quick to slowing it down way down, and now you're talking throughout the whole broadcast, and there's not as much action going on. But I mean, it really does. If there's any sport, and you know what, I think DJ and I have had this kind of conversation before. If there's any sport that's going to make you a better announcer, it's baseball, softball, though. I think so, 100%. Because if the amount of dead air time or air time that you need to fill when something's not happening during baseball, softball, for instance, in between pitches, and just what you need to fill it with, you need to know your homework, you need to know what you're talking about, and you need to be a good conversationalist.
Yeah, you're gonna be good at BSing a lot.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much is it.
You got one or two options here.
Yeah,
one or two options. You're either really prepared to know your stuff, which we know everyone at YSN is, or the other guys everywhere else, except for 21 WFMJ. Everywhere else does baseball. You're BSing for 2 hours.
We love it. We love what we do here on YSN. It's gonna be a transition for sure. It always is for me. I think it's
because that's the thing. I haven't been, all these none of the boys teams that I cover got far in the tournament, so I've kind of been off for a couple of weeks. And man, I just here we go. I like and for volleyball too. I cover a lot of volleyball, but volleyball ends way before football. So volleyball is kind of done, and then you got like 2 weeks before basketball starts. So
volleyball helps me
between both
basketball season because of the speed of volleyball. It prepares me for a basketball season to expect the speed. I think the hardest one transition wise though is basketball to baseball season, just because the speed and the action and where something's constantly happening and you're talking about what's happening in a game of basketball. Now all that shifts to not as much as happening, but you have to talk about the possibility of what can happen, strategies, stats, all kinds of other stuff with baseball and softball.
It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have three more previews today.
We're gonna have 2 baseball, a softball preview today as part of our 5 guests coming on today.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun. Cheney, they slowly but surely fell to Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. You did this game, Ty. I want to give you the limelight because you obviously know more about it than I do because you were there and you watched it happen. I just saw the scores progress. After one, it was a 1-point game, pretty competitive, but I think Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, just by looking at the scores, just slowly wore down the Cheney Cowboys. It seemed like that lead ballooned after each quarter, and then it ended up being 82-43, I believe was the final score.
Yeah, it was at the end of the first half too. I think it was an 11-point game too. So Cheney kept it close again for a half. But the thing with St. V's is they just have so many weapons to score. Had a clear height advantage. They had guys ranging from 6'9" to 6'4". I mean, it was college level team. And I mean, no excuses because Cheney, I still think Cheney can beat a team of this caliber. They need a little bit more work. They need more experience at this level. They've never faced St. Vincent St. Mary's in a tournament game. They were supposed to 2 years ago in 2020, but it got pulled on them. So, I mean, this is still a team that's won 3 straight district championships. They've been at this stage, and they've only been back for about 5 years, too. A program that's only been back for about 5. So they're doing great things. I think they're doing the right thing, scheduling up every season. They want to make these far tournament runs, and they want to get Cheney into that state title picture. And I think they can. I think they got a solid basketball program. And I really like what Cheney has done the last few years. They've dominated their district year in and year out, constantly winning the Boardman district. And it's going to be interesting to see what Cheney has coming back for next year. They have a lot of talent. Only 3 seniors on this team this year. One of them not playing, Clive Wilson, last night definitely hurt them too in the size department and just trying.
And I wondered if he would even go. I mean, I know that injury against Poland, it was kind of one of those ones where you said, oh man, that's not one you want to mess with when you're about to go to a D1 school sorry, real quick. Gonna get the light on. When you're about to go to a D1 school in the ACC for football and you get close to doing something very serious, you don't even want to mess with it. So I was wondering if he'd play, and my leaning was towards he wasn't going to. And Obviously, he didn't, and that was one of the things that hurt. But from regular season scheduling, when you bring St. Vincent St. Mary into your court, I mean, what more can you ask for? You can't get better competition in your division than playing that team that you're probably going to see down the line. So
probably one of the top 5, if not the best boys basketball program in the state of Ohio. And I will confidently say that it's at least in the top 5, if not the best.
And I
mean,
assume that
last year too.
I assume the next year, Cheney will go down to Akron St. Vincent St. Mary as part of the home and home kind of series.
And that would be awesome to see that. And this is a St. Vincent St. Mary's team, Anthony, that lost 4 games this year. One of them was in the Staples Center.
One of them was in the Staples
in LA. The only, I think, local team or like Ohio team I'm pretty sure they lost to was St. Ed's or St. Ignatius? One of the St. Cleveland schools. I don't know if it was St. Ed's or St. Ignatius. It was one of those two. Can't remember off the top of my head that beat them in the regular season out of the 4 losses. So like they play like tough competition all over the country.
Well, yeah. I mean, when one, they are good. Like, let's not get it twisted. They are a very good basketball team. But 2, they have the prestige that other teams, even if they weren't like great, other teams will want to play Akron St. Vincent St. Mary.
Quinn and I were talking about it too, and it really is. All you really need, honestly, and granted, and I will say the great programs attract kids, and they will. Winning attracts kids. But honestly, how much of it, and I mean, not to talk professional, but I mean, just getting on this real quick, LeBron still brings kids to Akron St. Vincent St. Mary because the name LeBron came from Akron St. Vincent St. Mary.
Absolutely.
Kids want to go there. And all you need, really, a lot easier said than done, obviously. But if that could happen to any school. If you get someone that goes to the NBA and has a good to great career, that's going to draw kids to that program just because, oh, well, he came from here. So
especially, I would argue more than the other kids that came out of high school, like LeBron's high school team was highly publicized. And I don't know what made it that way. Like, I don't even.
They were on ESPN.
There were documentaries about that team. There weren't any documentaries made about Kobe Bryant's high school basketball team. Well, that I know of. It's highly publicized. It was in the right age. Now, obviously, kids can't come out of high school for the NBA anymore. But I think you were talking about bringing kids in. That gets in the gray area when you talk about like, hey, come play with it. We don't want. But I was talking about getting teams. I was talking about getting teams to play you. I mean, it is really easy to say, hey, X team from Michigan, come play us. We're St. Vincent St. Mary. You know what I mean?
I wasn't saying like, I'm not saying they're behind closed doors, just like recruiting or anything, but I'm saying for like kids who want to go or have a choice, because regardless of what you say, you can throw recruiting out of the process. There's no recruiting in it. A kid still has a choice of what school he wants to go to. And if I have a choice, if my parents are like, we'll move wherever, pick a school you want to play basketball at. I mean, if I'm good enough to play at St. Vincent St. Mary's, I'm probably going to St.
Let's be real. Just like every parochial school in the country, you make the choice to go there. Like, you're not districted in to that school. You're making the choice. You might go to that school's sister middle school, like St. Christine's, for example, for Ursuline, but it doesn't mean you have to go. To like you
could go from those sister schools like St. Christine's and go right into a public school in high school. There's no, and same thing with like middle school. You can go from like AMS Austintown Middle School and go to Boardman for high school.
On the other end, if you're living in a South Range district, your choices are either go to that public school or go to the parochial school. But you can't like just say, I'm going to just go to Jackson Milton. Unless you move there.
Unless there's also, open enrollment has made some things interesting too for certain schools too. But that's a whole nother discussion that would take 30 minutes, and we have too many guests coming on today's show to discuss it. So we'll keep
I guess we'll wrap this up by saying we'll talk a little bit more about the Louisville win with Coach Siegfried, but we do want to congratulate Cheney on an incredible season. They gave us a heck of a ride, a lot of exciting moments. And we know they fought tooth and nail last night, and we're sorry to see their season end. But we know that, like you said, it's just the 5th year of Cheney basketball. Their future is so bright. You got to wear shades indoors.
Yeah, congratulations to those 3 seniors too for a heck of a 4-year career with Cheney. And I mean, they've done phenomenal work for the Cowboys. They've been to the district championship 3 straight times and won it. They went to it 4 years ago too, and lost an OT, I think, to Poland in that one. So, I mean, this is a program that has been back for less than a decade, 5 years, I believe, and they've already garnered so much success. So keep on keeping on, Cowboys. We're looking forward to seeing what you bring next year.
4 straight district championship appearances, 3 straight district champions, and next year they'll go for a 4th.
And it's a program that was gone for a decade, and they came back. They came back and said, "Y'all must have forgot about me."
Y'all, guess who's back? Back again. Well, we're gonna go from Cheney basketball to Youngstown Ursuline baseball.
Stay in the Steel Valley, right?
As we talk to head coach, hold on, let me get my mouth. There it is. Head coach of the Ursuline baseball team, Paul Kemp, joins us on Running Point. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Coach, I think the first and foremost thing we need to do, as we do with all our teams, is our Meet the Team segment. I know a lot of things are swirling around about the pitching staff of this Irish this year. So give us a Meet the Team segment and maybe some new names that you're excited for this year.
So I'm going to start with our 5 seniors. First and foremost, it's going to start with Brady Shannon, 3-sport athlete here. Would have been 4-year starter for our baseball program. UCF commit. Just a great kid all around. Everything, we do is going, through him. He's going to be one of our top guys on the mound, obviously one of our top hitters, an all-around leader. You got Joey Caracello, who will be a 4-year guy at catcher. Jackson Gruber and Trey Civarella, who are guys who be able to play positions and pitch for us. And Danny Smith is a guy, utility infielder and a pitcher. Those 5 guys have been in the program for 4 years. They've worked extremely hard this offseason and, really want to bring us to that next level where Ursuline baseball is supposed to be, and that's competing for district championships and getting back into the regionals. We have Luca Rashidi and Drew Carrillo, who are 2 guys who started as sophomores last year. Drew is a big lefty who has done a great job this offseason, just working on his craft as far as pitching, and is a guy we really got to count on. Some new guys we're looking for, Dylan Casey. Mark Manning's a kid who played last year who we really need to step up. He's a kid who's going to play center field for us, catch for us, be able to eat some innings up on the mound, and just a great athlete who we got to get on base. We're preaching to be aggressive, and he's a tremendous athlete. We got to get on base and get him out there. Jack Erickson's a kid who played a lot as a freshman last year. He's a guy we could put in a ton of different places, well as put on the mound. So, and Johnny Cambert's a kid who came over from Austintown Fitch. He's a kid who's done a great job so far, has thrown very well. And I think the biggest kid on the mound I'm excited for is Tommy Groener. Tommy is going to be a junior. He's a kid who, bounced up and down a little bit of varsity, but mainly a JV guy last year. He's had a tremendous offseason. He's been working with former Ursuline baseball coach Matt Giambattista, and you could tell the amount of time Tom's been putting into it. He's had a great, 4 weeks that we've been throwing. We went live this week. He's done a great job. So he's a kid I'm really excited for to be out there on the mound for us.
Coach, when you look at this roster, and like you said, I love how you brought up bringing Ursuline back to where it's supposed to be, and it's a traditional program full of success. How much do you think this roster has pride of being a part of this program, and like you said, the drive to bring it back to where it was?
I really think they do. We're very fortunate where we have a lot of guys with varsity experience back. We've had tremendous numbers in our program right now. And it's going to create a lot of competition, which me and my coaching staff have been preaching. I'm fortunate. I've been a part of a lot of great programs, and competition is going to bring the best out of them. And that's what we got to do. I'm a former Irish baseball alumni. 3 other guys on my staff are. I've been a part of 2 district titles as a player, and that's where we want to go. We preach it every day. We're moving forward. We're not looking back, in the years of struggling. We're moving forward and getting these guys to really buy in and believe it, and really getting them to understand, the tradition that this baseball program has. I mean, if you go from, the year Sean Durkin was the head coach, numerous district titles, getting into the regionals, he's got a state championship win. We want to hold our expectations there because I truly believe we have the talent to, and we're getting our guys to buy in and believe that. We're taking it every day, and we have a tremendous schedule. And at the end of the day, is we want to be playing our best ball at the end of May, leading up into the tournament, because Division III is a very good draw around here. But we want to be one of those guys where we want teams to not want to play us, but we have a long way to go before we get there. And upholding that Ursuline, baseball tradition is something that I really pride myself on, and something that our guys have really bought into.
That Ursuline baseball tradition and that Ursuline culture, I mean, on the field of winning, I see you bringing that back. But I also want to compliment, too, on just your young men being just upstanding young men. I've had a chance to talk with Brady a couple of times, upstanding young men. I've worked with Trey in the booth, too. He does a phenomenal job. Talk to me about just the character of your boys, and is this something else that you try to teach outside of the coaching of baseball, just teaching them to be these upstanding, young, great, just young citizens, future citizens of the states?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something special about being a student at Ursuline, and I think it's something that student athletes here, whether male or female in any sport, really, I think you are created, you learn that culture of how special it is to be. At the end of the day, is these kids are going to go on and do great things outside of baseball at some point in their lives. I know everyone has that drive and wants to play as long as they can. But, my big thing, and this is something I've learned from guys I've coached with, guys who have coached me, is you got to build a relationship with these players. At the end of the day is we want to win, and that's our ultimate goal. But, I know from personal experience that the man I've become today is because of guys who have coached me throughout my career and guys who I've coached with. And I take a lot of pride in that. It's the way that I was taught. It's the way that I want to teach our guys. I want to have relationships outside of them. If they have issues, at the end of the day, we're another father figure for them. And, we really want to, take these guys in and, deal with it. Baseball is a big thing for us. All sports are. But at the end of the day, it's, we want our guys to leave here knowing that, they could come back at any time in their life, give me a call and I'll be there for, because I've had that experience in my life, and it's made me a better person. And it's something that I pride myself going forward in any sport I coach.
Coach, you brought up your schedule a little bit earlier. I know Ursuline always brings a tough schedule with them to every season. It's almost an expectation at this point. Talk about some of the teams that pop up on that schedule and some of the teams that you're excited to compete against.
Yeah, so we'll start off from 2 weeks tomorrow in the Catholic tournament. We have Highland Tigers and Champion on Saturday started off, and we got to be ready to go because I know Highland's a very good program. A little bit of a bigger school than us, and they got some guys out there. I really love the schedule we put together. Our athletic director John Desantis has done a great job. First thing we did when I got hired back in the summer, was, let's get this schedule together. There's so much local talent. Let's get a lot of these teams on. At the end of the year, we start off with Canfield, and I know that's a big dog. They got a great team, a lot of guys going D1, and I couldn't be happier having them towards the end of the year because we're going to really see how we are going against a team like that before the tournament. We have Salem, who won their district, took Hoban into extra innings in the regional finals. We have Cardinal Mooney twice, who's a great program. West Branch, we got Austintown Fitch twice, Boardman. In the beginning of the year, we're going to go up to Akron, play St. V's. Week later, we're going to, right before that, we're going to play Canton Central Catholic. So we put together a very competitive schedule that, it's going to make us get better every day. And the same thing it's going on with the big motto with our team is, how are we going to compete against these teams? It's a next pitch mentality. If we make a mistake, we got to move on. We got to be ready for that next pitch. And I want these guys against these quality opponents, when the game's on the line. I want a guy who wants the ball on the mound. I want a guy who wants to be that guy at the plate, facing whoever, to go win a game for us.
Brady Shannon is someone that is synonymous with the Ursuline program, and I think it'd be hard-pressed not to talk about him going all three sports. We've talked about the other coaches with him in these other sports, but baseball, obviously, his first sport. So getting to talk with you now, Coach, I know how hard it is to rep a good batting average, how much work that gets put into that. I know how hard it is to maintain good command and have good control and composure on the mound. Talk to me a little bit about just the behind-the-scenes work and what we don't see about the work that gets put in by Brady Shannon into being as dominating of a pitcher and a hitter as he is.
Well, I think first and foremost, you just got to talk about how good of a kid he is. I was very fortunate. When Brady came here, I was still coaching football here, and we've built a bond since then that is carried on throughout his 4 years. You don't want to say you like players more than others, but Brady's just a special kid. Comes from a great family, and I'm very privileged to have coached him in 2 sports throughout years. We kind of joke about it is, when he got to Ursuline, he came in with me and, his last sport, he's going out with me, but just seeing his leadership and just seeing really how, his peers around him, just respond to him. You see younger kids who, whether he's in the hallways and, they may be at school or, you just see him at a basketball game and kids walk by him and they just look up to him, oh my God, that's Brady Shannon. And that's just a credit to the work he's put in. Obviously he's got tremendous athletic ability, being a 3-sport athlete, but his work ethic is, single to none. When they got done, in the state championship game in football, he was ready to go right away. And I honestly had to talk him down a little bit, be like, give your time some body to heal, but just his approach every day. He's a kid who, I want players to be leaders. They don't need to hear my voice and our coaching staff's voice all the time. At the end of the day, we want this to be a player-driven program. They're the guys out on the diamond who are going to win games for us. And he's the guy who, when he talks, kids listen. He puts in extra work when we're around. He puts in extra work on his own, and that's why has the ability, to be a leader on the mound, at the plate. And there's a reason he's going to UCF for that, and I couldn't be more proud of him.
And when you talk about leadership, there's no better way to mold your craft than being a quarterback on a football team that makes a state championship run. I mean, you can't be that in that position without leading. That's for sure. Coach, we know that you don't do this alone. We know that you have a lot of good people that work for you on your staff. I want you to take some time to highlight the people that work with you and your assistants and the people that make this program what it is.
Absolutely. First I want to start off with our athletic director, John Desantis. John does a great job with every program in this building. He cares for the kids. He's present. There's a big reason I applied for this job because I know the support he has and, he'll have my back, through the good and bad. On our varsity staff, we have Brian Frasco. Brian Frasco is an Ursuline grad. He is in the Hall of Fame here. He's in the Hiram Hall of Fame for baseball. He was on the JV staff with me last year. And it's just a great baseball mind. Our kids love him. He's just very good at what he does. Carmen Tarantino is new to the Ursuline program this year, a Boardman guy who's been around Boardman and Canfield for years. I grew up playing against Carmen. He was a guy I knew I wanted right away. Recommendations from people. He's done a tremendous job. And just, his baseball IQ and his baseball mind is great. When he's talking, our kids are there listening. He's brought a lot of things to this program that are a little different for our guys, and they bought in 100%. Those 2 guys have done a great job. When there's some head coaching things that I got to take care of, there's no question. I know our guys are in great hands with those guys leading things. And then Andrew Frasco, who is another Ursuline grad, will be our 4th guy on the varsity staff. He 4-year letter winner in baseball when he was in school here, 2005 graduate, was on staff with Sean Durkin for many years and has been a part of, district title teams. Having him back, just another guy who's been a part of bringing that tradition back, is great to have him. And then our JV program is Dom Critrone, who's also an Ursuline grad. Dom has been a JV coach over the years. This will be his 6th year, so getting him back on staff was great for me. And then Mark Lyden. Coach Lyden's been around forever, between the city schools, Cardinal Mooney. He's been here teaching this year. And, he ran our off-season weight program. He's got a tremendous background in weightlifting. And we really changed up our approach to how we attack the offseason. And we needed our guys to buy in, and they did. We had tremendous attendance, and I credit, everything we did to just his approach and how we did things. Those guys, all 5 of them, I am so thankful for. They make our program better. Our kids listen, they respond to them. Our kids respect them. And at the end of the day, our kids love being around them. And that's what I wanted, is guys who want that will to win, and our kids want to go to battle for.
Coach, my final question for you, with all the culture that you're bringing into all these former Ursuline grads, I love the tradition. I love the culture that you're trying to rebuild. With everything that you've learned in your coaching journey up until this point, what would Coach Paul Kemp tell player Paul Kemp now?
I definitely would tell myself, enjoy the moment. Go out there every day. Don't be hard on yourself. Going back to my playing days here in football and baseball, I was very hard on myself. And, over time you learn it, you go through experiences, and that's something I want to tell our guys, because that's something that when I finally figured it out as a player, made the game so much easier. You got to go out there and you got to enjoy it. A big motto of mine is, carpe diem, seize the moment, seize every opportunity you have, because you never know, when it might be the end. But, attack every day like it's your last. And, like I said earlier, that next pitch mentality, that next play mentality, mistakes are going to happen, how we respond to it. And at the end of the day, have fun. This is a great game. Any team sport's a great team sport, but going out there and winning is great, but you got to enjoy this with your buddies, because one day it's going to be over. All right. Then you're going to be in my shoes coaching, because you can't get away from it.
Coach, we can't wait to the start of the season. Just 2 weeks away. We're so excited. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, helping us preview Ursuline baseball. And we look forward to talking to you again real soon as the season goes on. Absolutely, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Look forward to all the coverage this spring, and go Irish.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Paul Kemp, the head coach of the Ursuline Irish, taking over in his first year as the head coach over there. And he's already impressive to me as far as that interview goes. They're in good hands.
What I love about it too is just like what he's doing as far as I want to reinstall this winning mentality, this culture of this proud tradition of Irish baseball. And then he brings in all former Irish alum and some significant Irish alum. And that's huge into it, because when the coaching staff's already bought into the program because they're from the program, it's got a special place in their heart. So when the coaching staff is already all bought in, it makes it that much easier for the kids to buy in, I feel like.
Not too much selling going on trying to bring this program back when you bring guys that were in the height of the program on the staff.
They know the level it needs to be at,
right,
too. And it's like players are going to trust that, too, because it's like, all right, these guys played and they had tremendous success. So they know the bar. They know the level that it needs to be set at.
And let's not get it twisted, though. Ursuline is in a really tough Division III district in the area. There are a lot of good teams in there that they'll have to compete with, but their schedule is definitely going to prepare them for it. I don't think
they have some pitching too on that squad.
Yes, I don't think they're going to see anything new in the district tournament that they haven't seen. Any pitchers that throw something different than what they've seen this year. That schedule is going to get them really prepared for postseason. But we have a lot of baseball and softball to talk about before we start talking about postseason. I'm happy that we're at the beginning of the year and just 2 weeks away from baseball in Ursuline. We're excited for it. We're going to take our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll have more spring previews on Running Point, as well as Coach Siegfried and Coach Palermo coming up to talk about their regional final games in basketball. So don't go anywhere. This is Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and alongside Ty Bartell as we continue this Friday edition of Running Point to close out the week. And Ty, we have a lot more to get to before this show is done. We're going to have Coach Nate Schick of the Lakeview softball team. I almost said baseball. We had baseball yesterday. Lakeview softball team going to be joining us at about 12:45. And then we have Tom Siegfried, the head coach of the newly crowned, ticket punched, I guess you could say, Louisville Leopards, who are now going to the regional finals after their overtime victory last night.
It's now the Elite Eight officially.
Elite, indeed. And then at 1:30, we will have Dan Doherty, head coach of the Louisville baseball team, coming on I am so messed up today. At 1:30, and then at 1:40, it'll be Kerry Palermo, the head coach of Mooney basketball, to talk about his team's regional final after their win over Campbell on Wednesday.
Yep, and I mean it's gonna be a lot of great interviews that we're excited to. We're previewing the spring sports as we're closing out winter.
Something really cool happened last night in the girls' state tournament, and I know everyone here, their eyes were on the boys' basketball games that we were covering, but I had a chance to peek into the girls' state tournament a little bit. Norton, who beat Salem, lost to Sheridan 68-60, which, okay, it went into triple overtime tie.
Oh my
3
God.
OTs, and there was even a buzzer beater that got called off. Sheridan almost won it, Norton almost won it, but then it was called off and said, that bucket doesn't count. It was before the buzzer, and then Sheridan went on to win in 3 overtimes over Norton.
That's insane.
68-60. What an insane game in Dayton.
I mean, that's what you expect when you get to that level of basketball.
Right? Like if every game in state was like that, it would be perfect. It'd be
that's what you sign up for. That's what you sign up for when you go to Dayton. And I mean, you always expect if you get to Dayton, like if you're even in this spot, like you're some of the best of the best.
You know what I realize, and this is from years of watching and keeping an eye on scores in the state tournament, it's either one team is just better and they win by a lot, or it's really, really close. You don't see a lot of games in the state that are like, all right, we're just a little bit better than this team. We beat them by like 10, Not a lot of that. There's a lot of, we're either 68-33, we're just better than you, and we got to this point, we were in a harder region, or it's like super, super close, nail biter, one possession, like we saw last night in triple overtime. Not a lot of just, we beat you by 12, we're just a little bit better than you.
Anthony wants more. He's petitioning for more.
I just want, it's got to be diverse. I hate seeing blowouts in state. I hate seeing blowouts in Dayton. But, if we could turn a lot of those blowouts into closer games, even if it's like 4 possessions, that'd make me happy.
Well, I mean, I feel like
if you're going into the fourth quarter and you're down by 9, you still feel like you got a shot.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't help some regions being tough in some years. The only way you do that is just make it a tournament where the best teams make it, and that's not gonna work.
Best teams make it. That's it.
Because then you're gonna get like 2 Akron teams and 2 Cleveland teams, or like 3 Cleveland teams and a Columbus team.
Let's not even play it. Let's send them to the tournament. That's it.
So, I mean, I get it, though. I understand it. I understand. Sometimes it is the way it is, though. It's just the way basketball is. Sometimes, though, you see those upsets, and those Cincinnati teams or a Columbus team comes out of it, and they are some real deal teams that come up that we don't really see that much up here.
Yeah, like Afrocentric's really good in Division 3. Waynedale lost, who is the team that Garfield lost to in the regionals. They lost in Dayton. So just some updates on some teams that our regional teams lost to. And Dayton moves on. This is the second day of the semifinals. And then over the weekend, we'll have all of our championships in Dayton.
Yeah, and that's going to be a fun time, too, over there. Across the state, Western Ohio.
If it was closer, I'd probably go check out the state tournament, but that's a long drive for no YSN teams.
Yeah, we might be making that trip to Dayton, and we might have 2 YSN teams in Dayton.
Kind of kicking myself for not being there last night, though. That would have been awesome. Triple overtime.
We might have 2. Hey, if everything goes the way it's supposed to, 2 YSN teams can represent
road trip. YSN live from Dayton. Running Point live from Dayton.
Going down to Dayton on a Friday. Oh,
can you imagine like you and me in the back of a car that's being driven by DJ, and we're doing Running Point from the back of the road trip.
DJ's like rented a van.
It turns into like the cash cab, like that kind of show.
DJ's just giving us trivia. It just
Scotty's-
turns into DJ giving me trivia, getting pissed when he can't get anything on me.
Scotty's in the front seat just throwing out trivia questions.
Yeah, and Scotty's just has Super Dave on the phone, feeding him.
Not on the phone. He's got the little earbud like that the host of Cash Cab does.
Yeah,
That's
he's just listening to Super Dave feed him BS questions.
Scotty's like, all right, Ty.
How many Yankees have hit it into the triple deck of the old Yankees Stadium?
Ty, we just passed exit 19A. What famous New York Met grew up in that city?
Super Dave watching some documentaries or something, constantly feeding questions.
What team did Derek Jeter root for while he was a young kid?
Those ones too. You have to know every detail of the documentary for Super Dave's questions.
Like Wednesday, he asked what team Michael Jordan rooted for when he was a kid. I was like,
what team he
gonna know
rooted
that?
for, what team he wanted to go to.
Right. Oh, fun times. Fun times. Ty, we patiently await Nate Schick, who should be joining us any minute now. Lakeview softball. And obviously, I think a big part of that conversation is going to be Maggie Pavlansky.
Again. I mean, how can it not? The athlete.
The athlete. They got Reagan Schick is going to be returning. This is a team tie that, remember, last year in the tournament came so close to pulling off an upset. And, oh, geez, the name of the team they were playing. I'm gonna get it before he comes on. I make that a promise. But they were playing a team that everyone basically thought was going to be at least in the district championship game. And Lakeview came up. It went like 10 innings, and they came so close to beating them. Who was it? I feel so disappointed in myself because I remember I was driving home from my tournament game that I was covering and watching this one on Game Changer, just following the live stats and cheering out loud. And my mom was looking at me like, what the heck are you? Because you couldn't hear anything.
Anthony remembers the scene. He's setting the scene for us. We're in the car.
Yeah, we're in the car. I just don't remember who they were playing. That's upsetting.
We'll be able to talk with Coach Schick here.
I'm going to open up the interview. Nate, I don't want to bring back bad memories, but who were you guys playing in the tournament game last year?
I mean, looking at, like you said, these tournaments.
More of the story is they're returning a lot of people from that team. They're very competitive, and they'll be a thorn in people's side this year.
Maggie Pavlansky is a thorn in everyone's side in any sport that she plays, no matter the season. It seems like. No, just looking at Lakeview, it's going to be exciting talking to another team competing inside that NE8 conference because we know that conference is always going to be tough. We got to talk with Lakeview baseball the other day too. That we have to. We will have to preview it, but we did get to talk with Lakeview baseball. So now we're going to talk with Lakeview softball, and Lakeview baseball will be premiered sometime next week on the show.
And before it goes on the show, it'll be on ysnlive.com. So make sure to stay tuned on the website. By the way, on the website last night and today, we released the Northeast Inland all district teams that were announced. It was just, if I would have read that on the show, it would have just been me reading names for 10 minutes because there's so many names. I felt like that would have been dry. It would just be like me, here's the first team, yada 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 yada, and yada yada and yada yada, and So instead of premiering them or reading them out loud on Running Point, we posted a great story and we featured. Both boys and girls had a YSN member be one of the players of the year. Jenna Smith was player of the year in Division 3 for the girls. Kevin Moore won player of the year for Division 3 in boys. So that's why those two are headlining that article as far as the featured image on ysnlive.com.
Yeah, and I mean Kevin Moore, great season too, and I got to see Jenna Smith play a couple of times this year as well. So I mean, I could say well deserving to both of these athletes. When you put up 1,500 in a career, and when Kevin
1600
Moore
plus. Yeah, 1600
dominating
plus.
as he was too, like
In the district championship, she eclipsed 1600.
so. I mean, great career at Garfield for Jenna Smith, and of course, great career, and got a chance to see a lot of Kevin Moore too. And I mean, he was a huge highlight reel this season.
Jenna Smith's so impressive. She's going to be playing in the North-South All-Star game. As far as the state All-Star game goes, the North-South All-Star game.
And if I'm not mistaken, aren't both of these teams featured in our?
Yes, every team is featured. Sarah Seaman will be the honoree for Garfield in our All-Star game.
Kevin Moore, though, is
I believe, the Camel representative, if I'm not mistaken. Once again, all of our representatives are on our social media pages.
That's why I say keep checking, because I mean, there's a lot of players I realize like we're gonna see them in their uni one more time playing.
All the coaches have been announced. You know, one side will be Fischel and Blanche from South Range and Poland for the girls. The other side of the girls will be Gilbert and Hamilton for that team. Josh Scott will be a coach for the boys. Francis Shelley's going to be a coach for the boys. Coach Upshire is going to be a coach for the boys. The fourth one is escaping me, to be honest. There's a fourth boys coach, obviously, because there's 4 on both sides.
Who was it?
I think it was Johnson from Columbiana. Maybe
it might be. Yeah, you might be right. I think it might be.
Go on to why that's a perfect tease. Go on to our social media pages and
we literally have so many images of all the players that are featured too. Zeta Creaky got announced, I know, for Fitch.
Yep, Zeta Creaky will be the Fitch representative.
It's just cool when we see obviously not in Zeta's case, but when we see these other seniors too getting one more chance to get back out on the hardwood, wear the uni one more time. I think
cool. That's what I like. We also have some great underclassmen that are going to be representative too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that might be represented multiple times next year too. So I mean, they might have more representation to come.
A couple of freshmen on that too.
We should eventually next All-Star game. We should adopt like a freshman game. If we start doing it like that would be really cool. Like the up and coming stars, like how they do the rising stars ones. And
we're at South Range. We can use the middle school gym for the freshman game.
That would be. I mean, I think there's been a lot of freshmen that have stepped up this season too that have had solid seasons, and I think that'd be cool to kind of throw the best freshmen in the area.
Running Point is just a hotbed of ideas that may
we
or may
throw
not
ideas around,
that may or may not be used in the future of YSN. We just throw them out there. That's all.
We throw them out there. It's into the space. Ideas that would be cool.
So, when you think of before we got off track, we were talking about the All-Star game and the honorees for the Northeast Inland District. We want to congratulate everyone there. And a lot of names that are on that list will be in that All-Star game on March 26th at South Range. Girls' introductions start at 5. They'll play the game. The boys will be approximately 20 to 30 minutes after the girls' game.
So we're going to have a 1-2 punch doubleheader, and it is 5 o'clock. So boys will probably start right around 7. Right around 7, you expect.
The other cool thing that we've announced already is that the highlight sponsor of this All-Star game, or I could say where the proceeds are going past what it costs to rent out the gym and pay the officials, et cetera, et cetera. All the other proceeds will be going to the Purple Cat Golden String. Jimmy Sutman was already on Power Hour. His interview is on ysnlive.com. But he runs that, and you see his commercials all the time on YSN.
Yeah, I was going to say you've seen him. You've seen him. He's on.
Scotty Mencher is great. He does great work for us. He's a part of the Purple Cat, and Jimmy Sutman does a great job with all those people. And we're going to have a lot of people that work for Purple Cat be at the game, and Jimmy Sutman's going to come and I believe be the DJ.
That's awesome.
And Scotty Mencher's going to be on the call with me for the girls' All-Star game.
That's going to be cool too to hear Scotty making the call with you.
So it's going to be a lot of fun on March 26th, 5 o'clock, South Range High School.
You're not going to want to miss this, folks. I mean, it's going to be a blast.
Tickets at the door. So get there. And if for some reason you can't get there, it will be on ysnlive.com.
Thought you were going to make a corny joke and say if you can't get there, then somehow you're going to need to be square.
I feel like be there or be square is so tired. I'm not gonna like. I try to make
you like grabbing low hanging fruits, but you don't like to grab that low. That low.
That's like no, that's like
too low of a hanging fruit for you to grab.
Too easy. I hold myself in my puns to a higher standard.
Slightly higher standard.
Slightly higher. If it doesn't take at least 2 seconds to think of it, then I'm not doing it.
At least 2 seconds.
At least 2 seconds.
If it doesn't just come off the top of my mind, it can't just come off the top.
It's got to show some effort. Come on. We're not lazy here on Running Point.
No. And you know who else isn't lazy? It's the Louisville Leopards right now, man. They are blasting through some teams and some great games. You talk about some one possession games leading up to the district championship, an overtime game last night. I mean, this is a Leopard squad that has continuously keeps battling through adversity and coming out on top. And I think it was Coach Schick that said he was hoping to talk to us on Friday, right at this time, Friday at 1 o'clock. And we're patiently awaiting Coach Siegfried now.
Oh, there was a problem getting Coach Schick the link, so I'm gonna resend it to him now, and we'll go from there. Talk for a minute.
No, I mean we have all kinds of interviews coming up. We got Siegfried at 1, like we said. We got to talk with him about that great overtime win against Glenville last night, and it's getting them a spot in the regional final against St. Vincent St. Mary, and that's going to be definitely an interesting matchup to say the least. On the other side too, we also have Mooney head coach Kerry Palermo coming on after that great win against Camel, and that's 2 wins in a row against one-loss teams, both Springfield and Camel, for Mooney, as they've booked themselves into a regional final and a rematch against Lutheran East, team that beat them last year in the regional semi. And you got to figure Mooney, with a lot more experience and a lot of sophomores and juniors that are stepping up on this squad. I mean, you talk about Rocco Turner, you talk about Ashton O'Brien. I mean, just the scoring level of these young guys. They're stepping up and they're starting to become a dangerous squad themselves, and they've beaten some of the area's best to get here too. So Mooney looking to book themselves into the state Final Four as well and avenge the loss that they had a year ago to Lutheran East. Anthony, how are we doing with the link?
All right, we just sent it again. So hopefully this time it goes through to Nate and we can squeeze him on today.
Yeah, I think we have time either, I think, before or after Siegfried anyway. So, I mean, either way, we could get Nate Schick on. We can accommodate
Rich Gremlins are always getting us at some point. But they've never gotten us outside the show. This is frustrating. Glitch Gremlins on a Friday. No way you want to spend a Friday with Glitch Gremlins.
Anthony doesn't want to spend his Fridays with.
Well, you do? Is that what you're saying? You like Glitch Gremlins on a Friday? You think they party with you on a Friday?
Anthony's going to start a campaign.
Probably all up in your closet.
He's going to talk to your kids in 4th and 5th grade about Glitch Gremlins. Anthony's going to come in and be like,
"Thank you for coming."
You think Glitch Gremlins are cool? You think you want to hang out with Glitch Gremlins?
Say no. Say no to Glitch Gremlins.
That's Anthony. You have a van that just says that. Say no to Glitch Gremlins.
I think we should go and talk to Coach Siegfried to get us back on track on this show. Coach, we told you we'd have you on again, and here you are. You've earned another spot on Running Point with an overtime victory over Glenville, 90-86. Wow. What an amazing game last night. I'm just going to give you the floor to talk about it, talk about the emotions that went through it, and what it feels like to be moving on.
Yeah, just an unbelievable effort by our kids last night. So many opportunities to, I guess, have an excuse of why it wouldn't go our way last night, but these kids are resilient. And we talk about the program here at Louisville a lot, but when you look at that fan base and you look at the 6-man and you see everybody behind you, it makes it very, very easy to keep battling the way we did. And you talk about overcoming adversity and revealing character through adversity. You have 2 starters go down, our senior leader and Tyler Bolt, another post guy, and freshman Braden Gross. And guys just stepped up. Zach Seaman, Chase Mueller, AJ Lingenhole all had huge parts of last night's game. And then, of course, Will and Hayden do what Will and Hayden do.
I mean, you talk about someone that stepped up too. I mean, Will Aljancic, you can't look further than that. 38 points is some serious scoring in a regional semifinal. I mean, just talk about the confidence that he has going out there, because it just seems like when he needs to put the team on his back or he needs to put the offensive weight on his back, he has no problem doing so night to night.
Yeah, it's amazing. The types of baskets he's scoring late in games are phenomenal. There's no bigger buckets. I mean, you go back to the Canfield game and the South game and Howland and his offensive rebounding and Howland and some of the big shots he made there. It's just phenomenal. Not only the amount of shots he's making or the points, but truly the times that he's scoring. He's scoring in crucial times when the team needs him the most. He's actually doing it a lot inside and pull-up game right now, which for the year, I believe he has like 68 threes, but he's not even doing it in that way right now. And as crazy as this sounds, and probably 99% of the viewing audience out there will think, what's wrong with this guy? He's not even playing his best basketball right now. So, I think that Will's upside is beyond comprehension to most average basketball fans. And I think the college scene out there has been interested in him. I think that you're going to see some guys really get interested maybe at the D1 level here coming up.
All right, Coach, you got the win over Glenville. It was in overtime. It's a big momentum-bringing win. But now you have St. Vincent St. Mary here in the regional final. They looked like they were taking care of business against Cheney. Talk about some of the challenges that they're obviously going to present and some of the things that you think you'll have to do to pull off what a lot of people would call an upset, but I'm sure you guys would just call another day at the office.
Yeah, I heard St. Vincent St. Mary's pretty good. I heard that they've won some district titles through the years. Yeah, all joking aside, obviously we know what that beast is like. Coach Joyce has been doing this a long time. We back in our 2016 year, we thought we were going to be D2. We actually played them in a pit camp during the summer, and we had a 19 or 20 win team that year as well, but we actually got bumped up to D1, so we didn't get a chance to square off with them then. It had been in the district at that time at the field house, but we've been looking forward to playing them for a while. As crazy as that sounds, you guys know my philosophy on things. You want to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, and when you hit that wall, then you got to find a way to break through that wall. That's what we believe here. The nice thing is that we've already played 2 of these guys, 2 of their main players. So Raymar, who used to play for Glen Oak, we played him his freshman year at Glen Oak. And then Sincere Harris used to play for North Canton Hoover. And we played him his freshman year at North Canton Hoover. So, I know none of these guys were necessarily playing them at the time, but, there's a little familiarity there. And we're looking forward now to, seeing what we got. Obviously you put these 2 guys on the same court together with many other really good players. I mean, they have guys that can play and score in a million different ways. And Coach Joyce obviously does a great job with them, and they're always very well prepared. So, we spent this morning and we'll spend the rest of the day getting ready. It's a quick turnaround. But honestly, when you get to this level, I really believe it just comes down to a lot of the grit and toughness and resiliency, which, right now I have no reason to not believe that our kids will be ready.
Coach, real quick before we let you go, what would a regional championship mean for this program? Can you put into words what it would mean to punch a ticket to Dayton?
It would mean about another week of no sleep, It would mean, kids really getting the ultimate payoff for how much work that they've put in. We've far surpassed, what some of our original goals are. But we talked going into that district final that it wasn't the third of three, meaning it wasn't the end. We tried to call that district final the first of three. So we did leg 1 versus Howland, leg 2 versus Glenville. This is the third of three. So we're trying to complete that trifecta tomorrow. Our kids will compete. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. You got to put the ball in the basket. But I tell you what, I'll go to war with these kids any day.
You know what else it would mean? It would mean that you have another spot on Running Point next week to talk about a trip to Dayton, which we would absolutely love to have you back on. Hopefully we can do that, and hopefully you guys can get the win over Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary on Saturday. We wish you the best of luck. We'll be there at YSN as always, and we thank you for your time as always as well.
So we'll see you Monday at 1 then? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Monday at 1.
Monday at 1. All right, I'll make sure I keep that open again for you guys. You're my
I'm
Monday
not going to pencil it in, Coach. I'm going to Sharpie it in because I'm not confident.
Listen, after the season's over, I'm going to have this huge void in my life at 1 o'clock every day that I don't know what I'm going to do. So
how much do you know about baseball? You want to come on and talk about baseball?
To be honest with you, I actually played college baseball at Kent State. So anytime you want me in, I'm actually
there we go.
Basketball guy. I'm actually a baseball guy. I just pretend to do basketball.
Coach, we love having you on, and we hope again to be talking to you Monday at 1 o'clock.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Coach Siegfried, what a great guy. Like I said, we love to have him on and talk about baseball. We would, that'd be awesome.
I'll take any coach to come on and talk about baseball. And Kent State, hey, come on. I'm gonna love them too.
We have beaten the Glitch Gremlins, and we have Nate Schick joining us on ysnlive.com Running Point. Nate, we got you.
How we doing?
Doing great.
Good. We apologize for the delay, but we're glad we got you on.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Coach, like we always like to do with all of our teams, their first time on going into this season, we like to do the Meet the Team segment. And for that, we've talked about Maggie Pavlansky. I think a lot of people know about her in the Lakeview program, but highlight some of these big names that are going to turn some heads and some new names that you expect to have some significant roles in this season.
Yeah, we're still meeting them too, to be honest with you. So, this is end of the third week of our spring practices. So we're still making adjustments and kind of learning to see what everyone's role is going to be. But honestly, we got to start at the top. Our two seniors are both impact players, both middle of the lineup bats returning. Kylie Imes and Reagan Schick. Obviously, Reagan has the same last name as me. She's my kid. She works super hard, and she'll hopefully have a good senior season. She's looking forward to it. Kylie is super awesome kid, real great player, works really hard in the cage. She's actually going on to play at West Liberty in college, and she was injured her freshman, I believe it was our freshman year, lost our sophomore year, so last year was really her first high school season. She had a very good season. Again, she's a middle of the order bat, our everyday shortstop, and on the field, lead by example type kid. And then you mentioned already about Maggie. We got three juniors who are going to be impact players. Ella Chadwick, who was her and Reagan both pretty much shared the innings in the circle last year. Gianna Caruso has worked really hard. In her past calendar year since we last played high school. Arms got a lot stronger. She played a lot of third base for us last year. She was definitely a middle of the order bat, hit, handful of home runs, really good kid, good, strong kid. She'll probably, looks to be, probably play most of her innings at third base right now. Handful of sophomores that are good impact players that are going to be, working hard to get in the lineup. A lot of them had a lot of good varsity innings last year, a lot of good experience, so they're going to help. And then we have a real strong freshman class coming up. We have 7 good freshmen that have all played pretty much travel ball throughout, the last handful of years. So it's going to be nice to have them push some of the older kids a little bit, and the older kids to push them to hold them on a higher standard and keep working hard to get on the field.
This team was so competitive last year. I told Ty I'd remember who you guys played at the end of the season before we had you on. It was Marlington. I couldn't think, but what a competitive game that was. And you guys pushed a Marlington team that a lot of people had penciled into a district championship before the bracket even started. You pushed them to the very end. How does this team take the next step and turn competitiveness into the winning culture?
I'll be honest. I was hoping to go through this whole interview without hearing the school name Marlington, because I still have nightmares over that game. But yeah, you're right. That game was we had them on the ropes, and we it was our game to win by far, and so that one hurt. It hurt really bad, But that's pretty that whole a lot of those girls that were on the team remember, and they're still on this roster. So we kind of hope to use that as motivation as we roll into this year. Our NE8 conference is so competitive every year, year in and year out, and it prepares us, for that tough competition, tournament play, and the it is what it is, So we're moving on from it. And, we've had right around a 500 record the past 3 seasons since I've been here. This is my 4th year, and we want to take that next step, and that starts with the youth programs. And to be honest, we have, and this freshman class is solid, right? We have 7 solid freshmen coming up. Our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classes are all very strong as well, with a lot of travel ball kids, a lot of kids that have played rec ball their whole life and then moved on to the travel ball to play more competitively in the summer. So, we're not necessarily just building, I'm looking forward to this year, obviously. But the years to come, our program is doing the right things, I feel like, to make this program consistent every year, not just now, or because we need to be to compete in this NE8. The NE8 is so dang competitive. Every dang team is so good in so many sports. So it is a challenge. It's a buzzsaw for sure.
Talking about competing in that NE8 goes hand in hand too. Obviously, it takes up a lot of your games in the regular season, but you do still have some non-conference games. So talking about that, are there any non-conference games that you're particularly excited for or getting a chance to compete against with this group?
We got a handful, and that's the thing that really, these super districts, when we do, for tournament play, it really makes it hard. And that's another argument for another day. But a lot of the teams that we play in these districts are the teams that we're voting on. They don't know us, and that's not just us. It's all the teams in the NE8. It's all the teams in Division II, in the Northeast District. People just don't know each other enough to vote properly, I guess, if that makes sense. So, I tried to add. I think we have Edgewood on our schedule this year, who's Division II in our district. We scheduled Kenston. We've never played them before, so we got a doubleheader at Kenston coming up. So that should be a neat game just to play.
Uh-oh.
Is it Glitch Gremlins? Hold on. Sometimes it kicks back on, but
just when we thought we beat the Glitch Gremlins.
They're not so close. They're not playing nice right now.
They're not. This is why Glitch Gremlins aren't cool, kids. Don't hang out with Glitch Gremlins on Friday night when they're trying to get you into a Friday night situation. Glitch Gremlins, they'll bite you in the butt. And don't feed them after midnight. Come on. Don't get them wet. And don't expose them to sunlight. Those are the 3 rules.
They're just regular gremlins, then, Anthony. They're not.
Well, they're grim. Oh, okay. We'll try to get. Well, oh, geez. Now I'm off. Did I just freeze? Did I just freeze?
I think you're frozen. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, my video froze. Well. You can hear me.
Looking at it though, I'm seeing the likes of Mooney, LeBray, Hallen. He was talking about Kenston, Edgewood. Yeah, so I mean, those are some big teams too. Looking at Hallen, looking at LeBray, looking at Mooney, those are some nice out of conference, and I mean that gets some exposure too to all the other a little bit of all the other conferences too. They go into the MVAC Gray, they go into the AAC a little bit too. So I mean, they're getting exposure to a lot of different teams too out of conference. So
I just flipped to my laptop camera.
There you go.
So we'll do that.
But I was just talking, Lakeview also scheduled in the Steel Valley Conference, the MVAC Gray Conference, and the AAC too. So, I mean, Lakeview's playing a little bit of every conference too, and just showcasing a little bit too. And I mean, I think that's good to get themselves exposure to the different conferences.
It is. And then when you don't have to travel too far in the NE8 to realize that schedule alone is going to prepare you pretty well for anything.
I mean, what? See. Poland twice, South Range twice, Girard twice, Struthers twice. I mean,
Hubbard twice. Hubbard has I would say 3 or 4 girls that I can legitimately say will play in college. One of them, Grayson Arkham, who is already signed to play in college. Felicki, very good player at Hubbard. And then their freshman pitcher from last year, whose name is escaping me. See, I'm doing this a lot today.
Yeah, everything's escaping.
But I caught Marlington. It caught in my head. I got it. So I'll get this name before the day is over. But a freshman pitcher that came on the scene last year for Hubbard that's returning for her sophomore season. They'll be good, and the whole NE8 really will be good. I think it'll all be competitive. Not too many teams in the NE8 that won't put up a fight.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt there won't be too many. And, I mean, we're continuing to try to get Coach Schick on, but until we can definitely look ahead, too, to some of the other interviews we have. We still have, I believe, Lowville baseball coming on, as well as Gary Palermo, too, today. So we're not done with interviews yet.
Nate Schick just sent me an email and said the whole internet went out at Lakeview. So,
okay. Well, we kind of that's not going to be our preview of Lakeview baseball.
I feel like we'll get him back on, and we'll do him justice.
Yeah, we will get Lakeview softball on and do him properly with a full 15 minutes. But it was still nice to kind of talk to him a little bit and kind of pick his brain on a couple of topics. And we got at least a chance to meet the team. We got a chance to talk about how they transitioned from last year to this year, and a little bit of the schedule too. But we'll get a full preview in with Coach Schick of Lakeview softball here.
The Glitch Gremlins just did not want us to have that interview today.
Yeah, I mean, and it happens. But we can take a break as we wait for Coach Dougherty for Lowville baseball, as well as Coach Gary Palermo for Mooney basketball.
Right, you got it. We will take our next break, our final break of the day, as we get set for, as you said, Coach Dougherty of the Lowville Rockets will come on at 1:30, and then Gary Palermo will come on after him as well to talk about Mooney's regional championship tomorrow. So don't go anywhere. This is Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense, to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk Futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we continue this Friday episode. Ty, we have Dan Doherty at 1:30 and Kerry Palermo right after to round out this show. Lowville baseball head coach as we get a preview of the Rockets in about 10 minutes. But first, I guess you want to talk about this, like a little bit before we talk to Kerry Palermo, talk about this Mooney basketball matchup that they'll have on Saturday at 7:00.
I mean, we can. I mean, it's just they're going up against the team that knocked them out last year and knocked them out in a big way and convincing fashion. But obviously, these are two different teams. Mooney has the exposure. They have the experience. They've taken it a step further than they were last year, beating two very good teams en route to getting here. I correct myself, three very good teams. I'll throw Liberty in there as well. Against Liberty, against Springfield, and then against Camel to get to this point. So I think Mooney, I mean, you play these teams, you play that competition, you get to this point, chips fall where they may now. I mean, everybody can beat anybody any given night, but now you're in the top 8 teams in the state.
I mean, with the defense that Mooney has been playing against really good and proven offenses that have been doing all year, it's not like Camel had some fluke 70-point games and they could go off. Like they were going off for 20
every
straight
games.
They
averaged over 70.
Right. So to hold them to 41,
you're averaging 75 in the playoffs too.
If you can do that, then my opinion, your defense can do anything. The one thing Mooney has to be careful of, and this is with every kind of when you're playing the team that ended your season the year before, you're playing a team that's a rival or whatnot. You can't play with revenge on the mind because revenge turns into making silly mistakes and playing emotional and not being even keeled. And one of the great things about this Mooney basketball team that I think one of the reasons why they won on Wednesday was because of their ability to stay even, stay patient. You had to stay patient for that game plan to work. You can attest to that. You were there. They never rushed the game. They never rushed the tempo. And if they would have, that would have played right into Camel's hands. So they stayed even. They stayed very patient with the basketball, and that's why they won. So they have to be able to stay mentally even, mentally driven, and not let emotions kind of get into their head.
And I mean, what Kerry Palermo's kind of just been saying the whole time, every time we bring him on for interviews, is, win or lose, we're going out there and we're giving it our all, and you'll not be able to question that from those boys, and that's that for sure, 100%.
3 games in a row, Coach playing up against really good coaches, and on that particular night, he outcoached them. Like he outcoached Coach Lamb against Liberty because he got them into a situation they didn't like, and they just couldn't make adjustments. And I feel like Springfield, he came out with a game plan that maybe you don't see a lot on film for Mooney, and Springfield just couldn't really get used to it, and then Camel, I watched that game and kind of like Liberty, they weren't able to make adjustments to Mooney's game plan, which was executed perfectly. So I think Kerry Palermo has been out coaching people left and right in this tournament run.
And I mean, you got to credit the game plan that he's come out with, and credit the boys for executing it.
Right. Obviously, the guys get a lot of credit for executing it, but especially in high school level, coaching deserves a little bit of credit too. And I think Coach Palermo has coached amazing games these last 3 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. And I mean, that's why you're in the top 8 teams in the state right now in your division, and with good reason. I mean, when you get to this point, like we say, anyone beats anybody, but truly when you get to this point, it doesn't matter anymore, because I mean, you're in the top 8 in the state. So
talking about Mooney, by the way, how about Ashton O'Brien doing it again? Like we talked about it on Thursday when we were recapping the game, but that's 2 big tournament games in a row that the sophomore has stepped up big for his offense and hit some really big shots down the stretch.
I'm going to ask Coach Palermo if that's the one that I know there was one that I believe was on JV, and that he was just playing ridiculously good in JV that they had to bring him up to varsity. And I don't know, and I feel like it might have been Ashton, but I could be wrong. But there is someone on that's playing varsity now, and I just think if it was Ashton, what a story that is, that he hits the biggest shot in the regional semi that puts him up and keeps him up for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that fourth quarter is something that we're going to have to ask him about too, because they were down by 4 going into the fourth, and they won the fourth quarter, I believe 18-8, but they won it by 10 for sure, but I believe it was 18-8. I think it was the final score was 47-41. It was 33-29 at the end of 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So do the math, that's 18-8, and that's impressive. That's just finishing games. They finished the game against Springfield. They finished the game really well against Liberty. They are making plays down the stretch, which is a sign of one, a really well coached team, and two, a sign that they have players that have been there, done that. I think that experience kind of shined through in that fourth quarter.
And I mean, that helps out too, and experience helps experience. And you know what, to like we said, to Mooney's credit, they've been able to pretty much adjust to every team the way they need to, and they've come out with a different game plan. And I mean, they look similar, but they come out with different looks too, and they change it up just enough to keep these teams off balance.
Ty, you were there, so you can answer this. Like in the fourth quarter, Camel has a 4-point lead, but they're obviously not scoring the way they're used to scoring. They only have 33 points to this point. In that fourth quarter, in your opinion, how composed do you think that team really was? I mean, do you think it was simply Mooney just making them make mistakes, or do you think, that experience did kind of track into their minds where they started to say, fourth quarter, get tight, we have to make plays to win this game, and start to force some stuff up?
I think honestly, I think they were composed up until like maybe the final couple minutes when you're down by a lot, and then you start panicking.
Yeah, obvious.
But I think going into the fourth, I don't think they were in panic mode, because I mean, it's a team that's come back down deficits before. I just honestly
they were up too. I mean, they weren't even down.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing. But it probably felt like they were losing, because they were so used to scoring at a high clip, and they were being held to 33 at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, credit Mooney's defense again to that. But like I said, I think at the end of the day, it was just Mooney took control of the situation. They took control of the game. I credit Mooney more than anything, because it just felt like Mooney took like the lead in this, if you want to go, the lead in this play, and Camel was just following Mooney's lead on it. If that makes sense, is that like Mooney was controlling the glass, they were controlling the tempo, they were controlling the situations, they were controlling the half court, they were controlling the clock. Like they just came in, and it just seemed like Camel played Mooney's game. They played into what Mooney wanted to do. Mooney took the lead, and Camel just followed.
How many times in this game, Ty, were you catching yourself thinking to yourself while you were broadcasting, well, Camel's offense is going to break through eventually? It's just it's got to happen, right? Like
by halftime,
it felt inevitable, right? Didn't it just feel inevitable almost until it never happened?
Well, no, because at halftime they were still pretty low scoring. So I still thought at that point that you know what, Camel I knew was having a lower scoring night than average at halftime. When Mooney kept it, I believe, under 30 at that point. I think it was 20 for Camel. I was like, I knew it wasn't a normal game, but I was still thinking Camel was going to go on that big run and stay up. And they did go on a big run in the third quarter. They had Mooney down by a decent amount, like Camel usually does. But what Mooney did, what other teams didn't do, they battled back, and they battled through some tough Camel defense, and they made buckets. They stayed patient with their offense. They worked that half court, worked some minute and a half court sets too. Like, just stayed patient, didn't rush anything.
To do that, Ty, you have to stay away from live ball turnovers, which they did a really good job against. I'd be interested to see the final number, not just the turnover number, but in my opinion, live ball turnovers, especially against especially against Camel, hurts you way more than a travel or a pass out of bounds or whatever it may be. So I'd be interested to see how many live ball turnovers Mooney ended up having. I imagine the number is pretty low.
I mean, like we said, Mooney controlled everything. They went in there, controlled the tempo, controlled everything. And that's why they came out victorious.
All right, we'll talk about that game a little bit more with Coach Palermo in a bit. But first, we have another spring sports preview as we welcome in the head coach. As soon as I find my mouse there, it's the head coach of the Lowville Rockets baseball team, Dan Doherty. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Hey, thanks for having me. How's it going?
It's going
Not
good.
bad, Coach.
Good.
First and foremost, before we get into the meet the team segment, let's make sure we get on the same page with the last name pronunciation too. Are we hard pronouncing this G or is it silent?
We're going with a CK sound, so it's Doc, like DOCK, as if it were. So Doherty. Yep.
Doherty. Okay.
I get it all the time, so no problem.
I'd rather clarify
every time from now on.
All good.
I'd rather clarify it right off the case. So for Coach Doherty, let's start off with this meet the team segment, like we always do with all of our teams. Some of the returning talent that you expect to turn some heads, and some new talent that you think might get some significant playing time this year.
Yeah, we got a good mix. Really, from grades 9 through 12, we have 2 seniors that return. Justin Beeson, who plays outfield and pitches for us, and Brandon Simmons, who pitches for us and plays some third. So those guys have been around for a little while. They know the drill. They had pretty solid junior years. We were happy with them. Then our junior class is probably our biggest and probably strongest class at the moment in terms of depth. Couple guys that played a lot for us last year. On the mound, pitcher Ricky Palumbo. We have a infielder and pitcher coming off an injury, Kevin Johnson. We have an infielder pitcher that threw a lot for us last year, Dylan Ocular. A couple outfielders, Evan Alfano, Luke Vanka, and a couple sophomores too that got some time last year. Santino Rivera Ocasio, who played second base for us last year. He's probably going to be our catcher the way it looks this year. He actually led our team in batting averages as a freshman. Okay, and so he's back. And then Landon Easenwine also contributed in the outfield for us last year. So, we've been lucky, last year to get guys a lot of valuable experience. We were young and, at times it showed. But, I think through all the bright spots kind of motivated us for this year. We had lost several close games that really just kind of slipped through our fingertips. And, we bring that up quite often. And that's kind of been the motivation for these guys that are coming back. And I should also add pretty big group of freshmen. We're still kind of sorting a lot of that out, but that's our biggest class in terms of numbers is our freshman class. So that's good for the future.
Coach, let's just talk about that. I mean, your biggest class is your freshman class, which means the youth program is doing good. The program is getting people interested in the sport. As a head coach of the varsity program that's trying to build it, how proud are you that you have such a big freshman class and you're obviously getting the younger kids kind of interested in playing baseball for Lowville?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. Something that, I'm proud of and that, our coaching staff is proud of because, obviously being a small district, at times, numbers are an issue. And, I've been fortunate, in the couple of years here, we haven't been in any type of danger in any way. But I've always wanted a JV team. I thought, that would be huge for getting guys experience and, kind of churning it through and really get it going. And we're close. We're not quite at a JV team with a total of 19 guys, which for us, like I said, is big. But, the community and the youth, ages and youth leagues do a good job of, coaching them up, gaining interest. And in a small town, you got to start young or, you're probably not going to get them. So we've been fortunate. Yeah.
Looking at your schedule too this year, I mean, obviously we know you guys play in that MVAC on the Scarlet side too. So you got your conference games, but talk about that. Go hand in hand with those non-conference games and just some games that you're excited about to get your boys exposure to.
Yeah, I always just try to play a ton of games. Even if it's at the end of a busy week and if pitching, might be thin, it's still, you got to get out there and see at bats and just kind of get exposed to the game because it's not something that just comes, immediately. So we try to play a lot of games, period. We play in the tough conference that you mentioned, really top to bottom, it's going to be a game every single night. Obviously Springfield is always tough. Jackson Milton had a great season. They'll be solid again. Waterloo, Ridge, McDonald. It goes on. I'm sure I'm forgetting some here. Sebring. And then we do a lot of crossover games too in the other side of the MVAC. So we'll play Camel, we'll play, Liberty, a couple of those teams in non-conference games. And then we try to just pick up some, competitive and similar size schools. We'll play Letonia. We have some scrimmages like Wellsville. And then towards the end of the year, I always like to add some, tough games. Okay. Struthers will be on there. Matthews is always tough. We play them every year. And then, we open up right off the gate with the defending state champs, JFK. So definitely excited for that one. That's actually going to be at Eastwood Field. And, our kids are really excited about that. So, I like the way that the schedule's coming together. Conference, that's where it's going to be shown. We'll see. We'll find out what we are in the conference, and I think I probably failed to mention Mineral Ridge. They're always solid as well.
Man, talk about, having a measuring stick to open up the season. You got Warren and JFK right off the bat. That'll be fun for sure. But Coach, you also have a great staff that helps you build this program and helps you put it where it's at. I want to give you time to talk about the people that you work with and the staff that you have on the team that makes this program what it is.
Yeah. Couple coaches with us. One being Tommy Beeson. He's been around for Louisville baseball for about the last 10 years or so as an assistant. He's a great baseball guy. He played for Camel when he was in school. He won a state championship in both basketball and baseball. So, he knows, what it takes, and he knows all these kids. He's been great with us. Very lucky to have him. Then two other coaches with us, Derek Pasquale, who I played ball with growing up. He went to Boardman. I went to Mooney. But we, we're good friends through, summer ball and everything. And, it's hard to find somebody that loves baseball more than Derek. So, that rubs off on the kids. And then we have Nate Solak, who is a Louisville grad. He actually played for me my first year when I was first year as a coach when I was an assistant. And, he's finishing up school, going to be a teacher, knows all these kids, and played on some good teams too. So lucky to have those guys, and lucky to have the support at the school, the administration, really everybody involved. The higher ups let us do our thing. We let us, they'll put us up at Scene Park for all of our home games and, practices and really whatever we need. We've been given the green light, good booster program here. So, it's a good situation. It's yes, small and, it comes quick between the seasons. A lot of their kids play multiple sports, but, I'm very lucky. And I think the kids are excited.
Obviously, with the numbers that you are getting for this program, there's something that the kids are buying into, and it's making kids want to be a part of the program. So talk about that culture that you've tried to build and that you have built here with Louisville baseball, and what does it mean to be a Rocket at the end of the day? Yeah.
It's kind of just, the culture. I don't know. There was really nothing that needed to change or blow up. We have good kids here. They know, what hard work is. They know what it takes to be successful, even though, we've had, some struggles, last year. I don't think anybody was satisfied with that. So, just their mindset, we didn't need to lay into anybody, throughout the off season to, say, hey, get to workouts. We didn't have to do that. We had guys that were committed, and, then just the group of coaches we have, I think we're honest with them, try to be fair, try to keep it light, be serious, when needed. And, it's turned out pretty well, and, let's happy with everything. And, it's just time to get some wins. It's time to get some more wins. And, that's all that's missing. Okay. It's, like I said, you asked, what it means to be a part of this place. Well, we have great people, and that's where it starts. So, I'm proud of that, and there's more room to grow.
Coach, we definitely think that you're going to get more wins this season. We can't wait to start our coverage of you guys for this baseball year. We thank you so much for your time, for helping us preview the season, And we look forward to talking to you again real soon as the season goes on.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Dan Doherty, the head coach of the Louisville baseball team, joining us to preview the Louisville baseball season. And now we go back to basketball as we have a coach that is once again in the regional finals. It is Kerry Palermo of Mooney. Coach, we told you you'd be back. Here you are.
Yes, sir. Happy to see you guys.
I mean, he said we might be a good luck charm. I don't know. I wasn't buying into it until now. Now I'm starting to buy into it. Mooney.
You are. We're not changing any routine, man. 140 day before the game. Love it.
I mean, Coach, first and foremost, I want to just talk about the composure of your boys the other night too, and just the composure they've had this entire run. Talk to me about just what you've seen about composure-wise, maturity-wise from this group of guys, as well as just some of these younger players, your Ashton O'Briens, your Rocco Turners, that have really stepped up down the stretch.
Well, I mean, it's really, we've seen them grow the entire year. We have obviously I've told you this before, we have a very senior-laden team. 6 of our top 9 players are seniors. They've seen it all. This isn't their first time in the regional. We play a very, very tough schedule, so we're exposed to, many different styles of basketball, pressing teams that want to slow it down. And we talk about that a lot. We've been through, teams like Camel who are, very long, very athletic and pressure. Like we played Cheney early in the year. We played Cheney for 8 quarters. I think we won 7 of those quarters against them, or 6 of the 8 quarters. We beat them the first time by double digits. They beat us the second time by double digits. We kind of let it get away, took some quick shots and whatnot. But it's really a true testament to them, our leadership, our seniors, our point guard Mick really makes sure that the rest of the team understands what we're looking for them. And those kids are hungry. They want to win. They don't care what their role on the team is. If we lay forth the game plan, every game, or the couple practices leading up to the game, they buy into it and they do the best they can to execute it to the best of their ability. And I'm going to say this, and I'm not. This isn't taking a shot at anybody, like anything. I don't care how people run their program and do their things, but we have 17 guys right now still practicing with us, 15 that we can dress. They're all kids that have been at Mooney since day one. So they understand our system. They understand every drill we're doing in practice. Everything's like clockwork to these kids. So they're not really fazed by anything.
And one of the terms that I would use to describe this game and the way you guys played, stay the course, was kind of probably one of the mottos for this game against Campbell. There were a lot of opportunities for you guys to get impatient or start to get a little bit jittery, and try to do maybe some things out of your comfort zone. But you guys stayed patient the whole game. You never kind of played into Campbell's tempo. Talk about how proud you are of these guys, not just executing a game plan, but executing it consistently for 4 quarters against a team that really hasn't had that yet. I mean, every team that plays them has kind of fallen into that trap, and you guys haven't.
It goes back to our schedule. We play against quality competition night in and night out. So when they went on their run early in the first quarter, nobody panicked. We called a timeout just to get them into a zone. We wanted to see Camel make a few passes before they took a shot. They went on a run beginning of third quarter. We made one tiny adjustment to our pressure. Once we got a bucket, we didn't really make much the first couple, first 5 minutes of the third quarter. Once we were able to see the ball go in the hoop, we were able to set up our press, and they turned the ball over. Again, I know everyone sees it as an upset, and I know Camel had an outstanding season. They're a great team, great players. Nick Carrillo did a great job coaching this year. Our players didn't see it as that. Our players went into that game thinking they were the favorite. Same thing against Springfield. Again, we know that our record, even though we were 13-9, I think that's a pretty respectable record with our schedule. There's teams that played in Division II this year that played the same schedule that we did and had a similar record, and got a little bit higher seed than us. That's fine. For whatever reason, the schools in our district voted us a little bit down. And I get that. I'm not going against that. But our schedule prepared us for this moment. So, I'm very proud of our kids. But when they laid forth their goals at the beginning of the year, they planned on getting back to this game, with a chance to play against a state power, a true state power like Lutheran East.
Coach, I got a 2-part question for you. First and foremost, the Ashton O'Brien 3 that put you guys up and kept you guys up. I want you to talk about his journey from all the way beginning of the year to that shot and being able to take that shot in that moment. And the winding seconds, I saw you getting excited too as the winding seconds ticked off that clock, talking about what went through your head at that moment when you realized you're going to the regional final.
Well, we were begging Ashton to really be more aggressive the first 3 quarters. Ashton's a really talented kid. He puts a lot of time into it. I mean, all of our players do. You don't get to where we're at, the final 8 teams left in our division. We're the only area boys team left. We're the only team playing this weekend. Everybody's at home. They're turning their uniforms in. You don't get there without a complete buy-in from your entire program, without kids like Ashton that, get in there, get in the gym. They make 500 to 1,000 shots a day. Doesn't work that way. I was very happy for him. Because he had a turnover, an uncharacteristic turnover that he had in the middle of the 4th quarter, and he kind of hung his head a little bit. And our guys are picking him up, and we kind of reminded him, "Hey man, we're gonna need you to make a big shot." And he snapped right out of it real quick. Literally the next possession, Camel tried pressuring us. I got the ball in the high post. Jackson Mino made a great ball fake to lift Ashton's defender. He found Ashton in the corner, and Ashton buried it. I don't think it's caught any part of the rim. And my joy I had for him and our entire team that moment, I haven't really felt that. No, I shouldn't say that. I felt that a number of times for our team. I'm very happy with everything we've accomplished the last couple of years. I don't think many teams this area, if you look at the wins we've had the past 3 years over the teams we've had, I'd put that up against anybody in the area. As far as the last couple seconds of the game, just seeing the joy on those kids' faces, getting to the next step, getting the Elite Eight. Mooney hadn't won a regional game since, I believe, 1998. So that's a long time. But knowing that they took down the 1 seed, the 2 seed, and the 4 seed in our district, because again, I knew we'd be like a 4 or 5 seed coming into the tournament. But when I told the kids that we were the 5, they felt very disrespected. They felt very slighted. They took that personal. They took that very personal. I have a very smart team. They read the newspapers. They look at social media to see what people are saying about them. They really feed off that. I love every second of it, giving those kids motivation. And they're just a tough, gritty group. And so I was just very, very happy for them.
They Michael Jordan it.
Oh yeah,
personally.
I got to figure that they have to have a chip on their shoulder going into this matchup though with Lutheran East, because I mean, for a lot of people, the casual basketball fans look at the score last year and they're going to look at that last year and think that Lutheran East has the advantage in going it. And again, Lutheran East, great basketball team, but these are also 2 very different teams than they were last year.
They
Talk
are
about this matchup and preview it a little bit for us.
They are. They're a different team. They're last year they were a very senior laden team. They had 6 seniors, 2 went Division I colleges, 1 went to Georgetown, 4 signed scholarships to Division II colleges. With that being said, they're still the best team we're going to play this year by far. Probably Boardman or Erie McDowell, 2 of the best teams we've played this year. Maybe Ursuline is up there. But they're by far the best team that we're going to play this year. So it's going to be, we know it's going to be a very, very tough task. We also know we can compete with them. We can win. We also know there's about 4 or 5 things that we have to do really well to give ourselves a chance to win this game. And if we don't do one of them well, they can extend the lead on us pretty quickly if we don't do them well, if we don't do it well, for a whole 32 minutes. If we don't take care of the ball for a 2-minute stretch, they can extend the lead out. If we don't rebound for a 2-minute stretch, they can extend the lead out. If we're not taking open shots when we have them, and if you pass up open shots, you might not get another one in that possession. If we don't take advantage of that, they can extend the lead on us pretty quickly. We understand that, but our kids want this game. Last year, I got to be honest, we were kind of happy to be there, and like you guys said, they're kind of a different animal. I'm not saying it's any less of a task. They're very good. They're one of, regardless of division, they're probably one of the top 25 teams in our entire state. And Ohio is a very good basketball state. But there's no team in this area that can compare to a Lutheran East. It's not even close. I think you guys saw that last night when Cheney played St. Vincent St. Mary's. There's just no teams that we have in this area that have that kind of size, depth, and athletic ability.
Now, you guys have embodied the phrase defense wins championships these last 3 games, especially in the tournament. You mean Camel averaged 70 a game. You held them to 41. Talk about this defense and how much you're kind of going to need it on Saturday against Lutheran East.
Well, I know I sound like a broken record, but the schedule prepares us for this because we play against really good basketball players. We spend a lot of time defensively in practice. Our first 30 to 45 minutes of every practice, the first 15 minutes are defensive fundamentals. Breakdown drills. It could be anything from closeouts. We press, so we do a lot of sprint slide drills. We do a lot of stuff with pick and roll. A lot of teams like to do high screen and roll, side screen and roll. We work a lot on backside rotations. We spend a lot of time on it. Then we do a lot of team defense. Then we do transition defense before we even talk about offense. As far as what we need for Saturday night, we've been getting great defensive efforts. This needs to be better. The further you go in the tournament, you're going to play better teams. It needs to get better. Hopefully playing against a team like this brings the best out of every player on our team.
The beautiful thing about basketball, and what I've said about this consistently all year, is you don't need the best basketball players necessarily to be a great basketball team. And what I mean by that, what I saw against Camel and what I've seen a lot during this whole run, you guys are undersized, but you guys have a lot of quick guards. And 2 things that require nothing but hustle, effort, and attention are defense and rebounding. And both things, I think you beat Camel definitely in the first half, I think in the whole game, rebounding wise as well, undermanned in that one as well. Just talk about how proud you are about the effort level of your boys going into these games on both defense, rebounding, and consistently executing these game plans.
I'm extremely proud of that because like you guys hit the nail on the head. We're not the biggest team. We're not the longest team. According to all so far the Northeast Ohio postseason accolade stuff, we don't have a first team player. We eliminated, and those players are well deserving of being on first team, but we eliminated 4 players and teams that made first team on the way to get to the regional final. So we have to do all the little things very well. We have to defend very well. We have to communicate very well. We have to box out very well. Most games, even when we box out consistently with all 5 players, we still lose the rebounding advantage. But we know if we could keep it close, that's good enough for us because we're going to force some turnovers and we'll gain some possessions that way. So we have to do that very well. A big thing for us is 50-50 balls. We joke about it in practice that we want to make those 80-20 balls, right? We want to be 80% winning those, 20% the other team can have. But we feel like every time there's a crucial moment of the game and there's that, that live ball rebound, that 50-50 ball, it's on the ground. We want to beat you to the floor. We want to beat you to that. If it means we're going to get a bump or bruise, we're going to get bloody, we don't really care, because we know we have to do those things if we want to win. And that's what basketball is. Like, I don't think there's a player that when they start the game that doesn't want to be a 20-point scorer, that doesn't want to be, the guy that takes a shot at the end of the game. But the reality is not everybody's going to do that. And we feel that if we can make all of our players understand just how important all the other roles are in a basketball game and just how much you can impact the game, with playing hard, with communicating, with defending, with rebounding, by getting on the floor. That's how you build a championship team. That's how you build a championship culture. That's what we feel we have at Cardinal Mooney right now.
Coach, you are now officially representing the whole city of Youngstown when you go into these regional finals. We are rooting for you so much. Ty, I believe, will be there tomorrow for the call. We're going to Sharpie you in next week at 1:40 for a talk about the state tournament. How about that?
I'm really hoping, like I said, if we could do 5 or 6 things pretty well, I'm hoping that Friday at 1:40.
Let's go.
Or no, it'd be Thursday at 1:40. I'm talking to you before we're getting ready to have a last practice before we're on our way down to Dayton. But whatever, I just want to say one thing though. Whatever happens in this game, and I probably don't say this enough to my team, I'm extremely proud of them. I think they've overachieved. I think they're I think when you watch them play, if you're just a casual basketball fan, I think they're everything that you want in a team, regardless of the sport. They truly get it. They buy in. They care about one another. They're all straight A, A, B students, straight A students. They're all really good kids.
Coach, I've said it too on this show. When you get to this point, you're the top 8 in the state. And I mean, there's nothing that can be taken away from that regardless at this point. So a lot of things to be proud of with this team, but we hope we can talk about a trip to Dayton in their future here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Kerry Palermo joins us again, the head coach of the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals, who are on their way to a regional final against a team that knocked them out last year in Lutheran East. But as we end this interview, both teams dramatically different than last year. And this is a Lutheran East team that didn't run away with the regional semifinal game. 58-45, they beat Norwayne. So I think you got to think Mooney has a pretty good shot.
I know you love Coach Fender, and I get it, Anthony.
You know what? Palermo's winning me over. Like I said,
what I keep saying too with Palermo, real quickly before we go, and what I love about him, and it's the same compliment I've given Coach Gilbert with Garfield, is that Palermo is the same way, where you don't have to be the best basketball player. He'll find a role, he'll find what you're best at, and he'll find a place for you on the team. And he gets the best out of every player, and that's the incredible thing, is that he gets the best out of team basketball, and it's impressive. It's so impressive.
We can spend forever on this Coach of the Year discussion.
There's so many great ones, but
there's so many great ones. But in the last 2 weeks, Coach Palermo has taken out some other people in that conversation. And like I've said before in this show, in my opinion, in those games, that particular night, Coach Palermo outcoached the other coach. Doesn't mean like everyone's a great coach. Sometimes Roy Williams will outcoach Coach K, and sometimes Coach K will outcoach Roy Williams. It doesn't mean that either one is a bad coach. It just so happens on that night one outcoaches the other. I think Coach Palermo.
This isn't like pro sports either. We account playoffs and tournament time into the voting for Coach of the Year.
My argument for Fender was always that he went through adversity. He lost 5 players to injury and still got that team to overtime in the district championship.
He's on the ballot. He's on the ballot.
But now my argument for Coach Palermo is he's taking guys in the conversation and he's knocking them out of the tournament.
He's taking teams that have been supposed to lose before even getting to districts. Looking at record, looking at what they were supposed to lose to Liberty, and they're in a regional final right now.
We'll have internal discussions and we'll see who comes out on top. I think there's going to be some very good debating and discussions within YSN on who should get those honors, not just Coach of the Year, but we'll have the MVP, the Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year.
They'll be deserving, whoever it is.
6th Man of the Year, but I think the whole point of it, and they had a long conversation about it on Power Hour. We've had conversations about it. I think the point is we take it seriously and we put effort into putting whoever we put on that list.
Yeah, and it definitely, there's a lot of things that go into it, but yeah, and until that point, we'll have all that comes up for you. But next week, we're going to continue our baseball and softball coverage. And hopefully we're talking to both Coach Tom Siegfried and Coach Kerry Palermo next week as well.
Both those games coming up on Saturday. I think Louisville plays at 1, if I'm not mistaken, in the Civic
1 or 1:30 at the Civic Center. And then
Mooney plays at 7 o'clock in the Fieldhouse. Both games on ysnlive.com. You can get access to both games with one easy payment of $9.99 at ysnlive.com.
To get 2 regional semis? I mean... Or regional finals, I should say. Excuse me, not regional semis. 2 regional final games for $9.99. You get both Louisville and Mooney. D3.
Right. And they take up your whole day. You watch one, you get to maybe eat some dinner, and then get ready to watch the other one. As for us, we're going to take a 22-hour not 22. We're going on the weekend. 70-hour break. We'll be back Monday from 12 to 2 with more spring sports previews, and we'll have more baseball, softball coaches, hopefully 2 more basketball coaches as well next week. We'll see you all Monday. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next. Power Hour from 3 to 4. Have a fun weekend, everybody.